What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. I hope y'all are having a fantastic Saturday here, and to make it a little bit better, going over this God Roll pulse rifle that I think is super slept on inside of the game of Destiny, especially in that PvE realm, but also in PvP. So we're going over both of those God Rolls as well inside of this Battle Scar pulse rifle in our Kinetic slot. So before we get into any of the rolls on this bad boy, we got its origin trait, field tested. Defeating targets or dealing damage with this weapon gradually increases range, stability, handling, and reload speed. So it is super nice for that crucible when you're getting those quick defeats in sixes, something like that. But even dealing damage inside of that PvE realm, you can definitely notice the difference when this gets procted, and you can see it on the left hand side when it does happen. Now, this weapon got re-released this season here with some new perks updated on it, coming from those legendary engrams, as well as just leveling up Banshee for those rewards with him. Plus, randomly, he can sell it at the bottom with those random rolls and random weapons that he has. Now, this thing, in my opinion, like I said, very slept on for a few different reasons inside of the PvE realm specifically, but first off, for this crucible roll. Now, since this is a light frame weapon, we move a little bit faster with this, do a little less damage than something like those heavy pulses with the 2 burst, but this thing absolutely slaps in my opinion. So we're starting out right here with the small bore on our barrel for that strength and stability at +7 to each of those, and you might see this is a little different than my crafted weapon videos because we don't have the loot pool inside of Destiny, so this comes from Light GG. Now, second off in that column for PvP, I'm going with accurized rounds because it gives us that nice +10 to range, so this can compete with some of those heavy frames at that longer range. Like I said, shoot a little bit faster at the cost of a little bit of damage. So right here in our third column, we're going with perpetual motion, so we get additional stability, handling, and reload speed while we're in motion. Stacks up ×2 with this, so it helps a lot inside of the crucible. As you can see, each stack provides 10 stability, 10 handling, and that 10 reload speed, so it actually jacks this boy up very quickly for that stability and handling, more so in the PvP realm. Now, in the fourth column, you got 2 different options, both very good in my opinion. I don't know if I could really pick one over the other, but if I had to, I would probably say this one first. With Head Seeker, body shots landed with this weapon increase precision damage and aim assist for a short period of time. Body shots landed while the perk is active refreshes that time, so this helps with that pulse because you might hit one of the 2 bullets or something in the body, and then you will see it start to stack up where that Head Seeker gets procced, and then your precision shots when you do hit that laser just absolutely melts Guardian. Now, for me, your second option right here is Impact Reserves. So at the end of the magazine, it deals more damage in PvP, 3 to 6% on the increased damage for that lower half of the magazine. So just kind of in the end of those gunfights, you're going to do a little bit more damage than your enemy, but Head Seeker kind of does the same thing, just gives you that extra damage for precision shots only instead of overall base damage. So very slept on in my opinion for that Kinetic slot. A lot of people use Peace of Mind, no time to explain stuff like that, but another awesome alternative is this Battle Scar right here. Now, when we move on to PvE, this thing is slept on more than you would think, especially since everybody has been raving about the new hung jury with those couple options in loot and shoot and those kinetic tremors, which this bad boy can roll with as well. So definitely slept on in that aspect with being able to get that gnarly roll. But first off, for our barrel that we have right here, I'm going with corkscrew rifling, so we get that stability, range, and handling that are all in the positive categories. Kind of that jack of all trade for barrels that I know you've heard me talk about if you listened to some of my videos on these God Rolls before. Now for me, inside of your magazine, you got 2 options, with tactical mag being the best option for magazine. Firstly, because we get that +3 in magazine, +5 to stability, and +10 to reload, so it helps in all of those categories. Now you could also go with appended mag because it does give you a few extra bullets in the magazine compared to tactical, but it doesn't have that addition to that reload and such, so it's not as good in my personal opinion, but a still second option for this column. Now in this third column we have two options once again. First off, we have shoot to loot, which I think is going to be the God Roll on this, especially once it gets changed to pick up orbs of power with this perk. So shooting ammo bricks picks it up, automatically reloads all of your equipped weapons from reserves. So it's going to be absolutely nasty, I think, for DPS and some of that endgame activity. Now we also have this option right here, which is also a very, very close second and will probably become my first if the one in the fourth column doesn't do what I hope it does as well in the future with some updates. So we have keep away right here, increases reload, range, accuracy when no combats are in a close proximity. So this pairs very well with the fourth perk anyways, but I do think this will be taking over for loot and shoot if our fourth column perk doesn't use the loot and shoot to my advantage like I'm hoping that it will. Now that perk that I'm talking about is the Kinetic. Tremors that came out this season. Sustained kinetic damage to target emits a shockwave that damages nearby targets. Now the reason that I'm hoping that this works with shoot to loot is so when those kinetic tremors activate, it'll hit ammo that is around the boss or whatever we're doing damage on, as well as those orbs of power with shoot to loot, so it'll pick up everything and reload our weapons from the reserves, which seems like a lot, but it isn't that big of a blast radius on the kinetic tremors, but it does add a nice little bit of damage to this pulse rifle for that PvE realm. So that's why also keep away pairs well with this, so you can stand in the back, do that damage without having to get super close to the enemies, allowing keep away to proc, but definitely going with kinetic tremors on this for my fourth column in that God Roll for PvE. Very, very good in my opinion. It absolutely juices some damage in my opinion. Going through that Defiant battleground on some of the bosses, it was doing more than enough to kill the scions and the dogs around the boss, with doing that nice extra 5,000 to 6,000 every time that tremor happened. So it does seem like a very, very good perk, and hopefully it does help proc that shoot to loot in the future. That's why everybody's going for that hung jury this past week inside of the GMs. So this right here is a very good roll that is exactly the same with shoot to loot and kinetic tremors on a kinetic pulse rifle. So a very good option as well for y'all to pick up in the future for the PvE realm. Definitely if you see it in Banshee, something like that, snag it. But all of those legendary engrams and stuff, and leveling up Banshee and those gunsmith, that is where this comes from. So hopefully y'all can get this God Roll for PvP, PvE, whatever y'all mainly play. So thank you guys again so much for that support. Truly appreciate it. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.